What's going on, y'all? So we are back again for another review of another episode of Queen Sugar, season 1, episode 12, Far Too Long. And I must say that I have been thoroughly enjoying this new show. All right, and I never thought I would, but it just captivated and held my attention. Each episode, even when an episode had its slow moments or whatever, I still was intrigued and into it. And next week will be the season finale. I am so glad that they're coming back for a season 2. But let's get into this episode. So we first start off with Nova and Too Sweet. Too Sweet is literally on the floor fighting in his sleep. Okay. And he's saying, no, no, get off me, get off me. He is having a dream, or I should say a nightmare of being back in prison, being back in jail with them adults who were whooping his ass. And that's all he kept on saying was they was beating me. They wouldn't stop beating me. And I tried to make him stop and all that stuff. And he was crying. He's just breaking down. This boy has suffered so much because of a little small infraction that had it not been for his skin color, he wouldn't have to go through. He probably would have just been got off or whatever. And that's what Nova had discovered also when she did her little report of investigation on the police department and things of that such. All these different cases of black teens, black youth getting, charged with X amount of years in extreme sentences for small little things like just a little joint of weed or whatever. But if it was a white boy or a white girl, a white teen, it wouldn't happen, okay? And so she was just trying to comfort him and tell him, everything's going to be okay. You're safe. You're all right. I'm here for you, all right? So we move on from that to Ralph is sitting at the desk, looking all. I said, come on, Ralph, you looking all professional, even though you ain't really doing shit. But he looking like he a boss up at the desk. And I was like, look at that. Okay, you trying to make it seem like you trying to take control. He trying to call Charlie. Charlie won't answer his phone calls. And he is getting pissed off. I would be getting pissed off too because they treat Ralph like, I know he the baby and I know he been through some shit, but y'all all been through some shit. Like, give him a little bit of respect. Hear him out. And that is his whole thing during this whole episode. And I'm pretty sure he gonna blow up with Charlie next week because he is sick and tired of her shit, bitch. Charlie, she's at this old mill that's been run by another person, another, I guess, company or family who she thinks, hey, we can take this meal and we can build it up, and we can use it to grind our own sugar and all this stuff. She talking to Remy. Remy is like, girl, I know you trying to be ambitious and all, but this ain't gonna work. It's gonna take at least 6 months to clean this all out and get new equipment in, and by that time we gonna miss the harvest. And I was like, you better listen to Remy. But something like some of y'all have been saying, and I kind of peep it a little bit, like, because y'all be putting stuff in the comments. I be looking at shit like, well, maybe I could kind of sort of see how some of y'all may think that Remy could be either an opportunist or something else ain't completely 100% right about him. For some reason, I can see it now. All right, but he is in a way looking out for her best interest, and you know hasn't really stirred her wrong yet. Okay. And I really just hope he's an all around good guy. I want to hope that. I don't want season 2 to come back and he done some fuck shit. And we sitting here like, bitch, we were rooting for you. Okay? I don't want him to turn around and be that bad guy because Charlie had enough already with Davis. But she basically saying that the owner of that mill wants an offer for it. And the Boudos, they already putting in the $8 million offer, and she put in $9 million. She can get the meal or whatever, and he need the price like either about a weekend or the next day or some shit. Remy, like, for real, you really finna try? And girl, I don't give a shit. Where you at? You really finna try and buy this? Like, girl, calm the fuck down and all this stuff. And it was like, if you gonna do it, okay, girl, go ahead and do it. Then we got the scene with Micah and Lil Kiki. Aw, I'm still on the fence with Kiki, but I'ma just say I'm glad Micah is dating a black girl. Bitch, Kiki said So I'm like, this the first time you dated a black girl? I said, girl, you know what? I would have been offended, but then again, in this situation, you had to ask those questions because his last girlfriend was a white girl, and he is out there in LA, and she fucked him over. I'm so mad they still didn't get that bitch for Matt lied on him. Cause you out here hoeing around. Thought ass bitch. But anyway, she was like, Boogie wanna come on, you wanna come over and you gotta meet Boogie. Boogie wanna sit down and talk to you and all that stuff. And was like, why do I have to come? I mean, we've been kicking it or whatever, so why do he already seen me before? Why I gotta come and kick it with him? And it was like, you ain't never dated a black girl before. Girl, down here in the South, when you date a black girl, you got to meet the daddy, sit down and have dinner with him so he can check you out, put a little fear in you and all this stuff. And he was like, so what, we dating? She was like, I mean, that's what we've been doing and all this stuff. And was like, if that's your daddy, why you call him Boogie instead of Dad? Well, that's my stepdaddy because, he's always been there with my own daddy. He ain't shit. He ain't never been in my life, so fuck him. And it's all about Boogie. And then Michael gets into his feelings about how his dad, he hasn't really spoken to his dad. He don't want to reach out to his father. And she was like, why are you acting like that? I mean, at least you have your father in your life. And it was like, my father literally went around fucking with prostitutes for years. Like, I don't want to deal with that. And he was like, she said, well, I mean, that ain't got nothing to do with you. That's his that happened between his mother and you and him. And he was like, it do got something to do with me because it affects me as well. And I said, I'm so glad that he put that in there because like I said before, when y'all do this fuck shit in y'all marriage and you have kids, and especially if you in the spotlight, it don't just reflect on you and you, it reflects on the kids and affects them too, okay? They get hit all sides around and they have to wake up and see all this shit, especially if they teenagers, see all this shit, or even young adults, see all this shit on the internet about all your transgressions and all this shit, it affects them as well, okay? So you have to be mindful. Then Charlie, Nova and Ralph Angel trying to get in touch with Charlie. Mind you, they up in they up in Nova's lab, right? Nova, I said, look at that weed shit, bitch. Why don't you just go ahead and plant some weed? But you probably get arrested, so I ain't gonna put that out there for you. But anyway, so she was like, oh my God, what do you guys want? And she's like, I'm in a meeting. Ralph was like, well, shit, I'm surprised she answered the phone for you because she just been sending me straight to voicemail. They basically was trying to tell her that they have this idea. Ralph came up with this idea that they can still use the meal that's in the other parish. I think St. James Parish, okay? But all they have to do is get these refrigerated trucks. They can lease these refrigerated trucks to keep the sugarcane in there so that they won't crystallize and get fucked up during the little 6 hours, the 16 hours there and back and stuff like that. Charlie is like, no, I told you I was going to handle it and all this stuff, and basically hung up on their asses. And Ralph is over it. He's like, every time I try to say something, she don't want to listen, or if it ain't her idea, she ain't gonna take it, and she's acting like she's the only one a part of this when I'm the one that's out here running this farm and shit. Bitch, why he say all that shit to Nova and then said the same damn thing to Darla? Darla over there like, well, she don't know what the fuck it is that she been doing. Okay, you been out here breaking your back, doing all this shit for the farm. She don't know that word. All right, this is you. You put your foot down. If you want to do it, you do it. You don't need her approval. I said, hold up. Now, Darla, you trying to ease your way in, but bitch, you doing a little too much. And I said, Ralph, if your ass listen to this shit and get y'all all fucked up, it's not gonna end well. Darla, you about to start causing some problems. You literally trying to get back in and fuck shit up now. I'm like, girl, don't let me start looking at you in a different light, okay? Because you looking a little suspect right about now. What is your end goal? Okay, what is your motivation right about now? Child, I said, what? Don't listen to that bitch. Okay? She ain't been off of drugs that long. Like, stop that. So Charlie meet up with that dude from the basketball team, and trying to make this deal to have Davis come out there. And his whole thing is, will he really come out there for the amount of money that I'm willing to give, because he don't have that much cash to give him like that since he's this big superstar. Plus also, will he be able to put up the numbers that he's been putting up when as he plays when he plays alongside Felix Evans, who is another teammate of his on his I guess it's called the Gladiators or whatever. And she was like, if you're talking about trying to get both of them, I can get both of them for you if you want to. And was like, he got a meeting with New York for the Knicks and all that shit. And so if you can do that, I don't see how they supposed to come out here and meet. But I don't know if you got the access or, shit like that to do it. Do you even have the access and all this shit to Davis to even make this stuff? She said, bitch, first of all, I'm his wife, all right? And I am the motherfucking business, okay? I have all access, okay? Regardless of what's going on between us, this business shit, it ain't gonna change, okay? Because I run this shit. And now she got up and he was like, Charlie, where you going? Oh, because you doubt me, so now I gotta prove my motherfucking self to you. I said, come on, Charlie. Charlie was doing the fucking most in this episode. I almost slapped her ass, but then again, I said, well, you gotta do what you gotta do to get this nigga to come downstairs. Come down to the state without having to grovel at his feet and beg him to come. But she was talking to Remy. Remy had asked her out on a date or whatever, and she was supposed to come and see him. They were supposed to go out on a date later that night. So she winds up going on the phone and she calls the wife of Felix, okay? And she was like, hey, girl, I ain't heard from you in a minute. I know, girl, what's going on? That's how Felix's wife was like, why this bitch calling me? I don't fuck with her. Her man dirty, bitch. I ain't got time for this shit. Let me entertain her for a second and hurry up and get her off my phone. So, girl, I heard you was talking about your, y'all was shopping shit up in New York, and I heard that you might be down here. How long you gonna stay? We should go chop it up, plan some stuff like tomorrow. Girl, we down here, but we leaving in the morning. Okay, so we can let this work. You can meet us at the bar. We can go to the bar around 7-ish and all this stuff, and we can chat it up. She was like, okay, cool, girl. Click. I was like, all this fakeness that's going around. That bitch, as soon as this scandal came out, she kind of separated herself from that group. You saw how Charlie got separated from the group and all that stuff. She literally took herself away. Vac comes over to Ralph Angel house, right? Mind you, Hollywood is like a roommate helping. He stays at the house too, and he was, his whole thing is he's trying to get these divorce papers. Okay, he went through this quickie divorce service that, as he was on the phone with them saying, I paid $139 for you to expedite the divorce, meaning that that's supposed to come quickly, not as slow as it been. All right. His thing is he wants to present Aunt Vi with the divorce papers and then try to get back with her. Put it on the ground of good faith, okay? Listen, I love you this much that I went on ahead and got these divorce papers, and I want you to show it. I want you to see. Here is the proof, okay? That's why he has not contacted Vi, yet. He waited on the paper, so when he first see her, that's what he want to do. Child, Vi comes over to the house. It's like no matter what Hollywood try to do, no matter how noble or what he think is the right thing, it always get fucked up. Vi came over with her good come get it girl wig, okay? And she had a pan of baked macaroni and cheese, bitch. And then, Ralph was sitting at the table. It was like, hey, Vi, Hollywood back there. Yeah, he back there. Let me tell you something. So I just got my macaroni and cheese or whatever for him, since he just got back. He just got back. No, Hollywood been here for damn near a week or so. Hollywood come out the back. She said, so bitch, you mean to tell me you been here for almost a week and you ain't come by and stop by and say nothing to me? You ain't come to the High Yellow? You ain't come to my house or nothing? He was like, she said, fuck you, Hollywood, and walked out. Took that macaroni and cheese. Mind you, and I just looked at it again. She had it in a blue silverware pan, bitch. Meaning the one that you wash and reuse, okay? And threw that shit in the garbage can. I said, first of fucking all, Vi, you're petty as shit. She was petty as shit for leaving like that. And then you was even more petty and disrespectful because you took that macaroni and cheese and you threw it in the garbage can and let nobody get a swift of it, okay? I couldn't even get a spoonful of it before you just threw it in the garbage can and you said, fuck your pan too, okay? It wasn't no aluminum pan that you can just throw a shit away. No disposable pan. You threw your dish in the garbage can. All because you want to be fucking petty. Bitch, if you wouldn't have been fucking me, okay? Hell to the no. We don't do shit. We don't waste shit around here like that. Hollywood all up in his feeling like, God damn, I was just trying to show her that I'm finna get the divorce or whatever. So, moving on from that, Charlie then met up with Felix Evans' wife, right? So they talking and talking and talking, and then all of a sudden, trying to catch up, doing that little small talk before she goes in for the kill about what the real reason is for her and her to be talking. As they was in the midst of their conversation, her phone starts ringing. We see Remy dressed up in his good Sunday best, okay, funeral / Sunday best wear, and she was like, "Oh my God, let me take this call." Oh my God, Remy, I am so sorry. I forgot about our day and some stuff came up, but I will make it up to you. He heard some shit in the background. So, bitch, what the fuck you at? Seriously? I'm kind of pissed off and you gonna have to make this shit up for me. He took it in stride and all that stuff and let her go, whatever. Girl, she go back out there and she started talking to Felix Evans' wife, and was like, "So I heard, she was like, yeah, he about to go up there to New York, and he was talking to them about signing up there with the Knicks and all this stuff." And then she was like, "Oh, so you really? I can't see. I don't understand. I just don't see how you do it, standing by him, and after everything that happened." She was like, "Girl, what you talking about?" She was like, "What you mean?" She was like, "Girl, I mean." He told me what happened, and then we did what y'all did. Paid the girl off. And I was like, "So you didn't sit down with her?" "No, we didn't sit down. We just paid off like y'all did." "What did you do?" "We actually sat down with her and I got to the truth." She was like, "What you talking about?" "The truth of the matter." Okay? And let me just tell you this. If you don't want that shit to get out, what you gonna do is you gonna call your husband and you gonna tell your husband that no, he will not be signing with the Knicks. He is gonna bring his ass down here and he's gonna sign with this team, okay? And if you don't do it, the tape of the prostitute bitch that was saying what she was saying about the whole thing and what he had his part in contributed into this rape. She didn't say exactly what it was, but she knew it was the wife got the message because and she was like, "I put it all over the internet." She was like, "Bitch, you gonna do that to me?" All fair and loving basketball, bitch. Come on now. Come on now. I said, Charlie, look at you. All right. You gotta play dirty sometimes to get what the fuck you want. I guess, bitch. I guess she just tired of taking losses. And she said, "Motherfucker, I need a goddamn win." Okay? So, after that, Roberta and the waitresses at the High Yellow just talking about they niggas and all this other stuff, and then here come Val like, "Y'all need to shut up and y'all need to do some work." Girl, the old girl was like, Roberta was telling her, "You still over here. You need to loosen up. You need to come down to the juke with me, and we need to go dance and get some niggas and all that stuff, because you all hung up on Hollywood, and to get over one nigga, you have to get under another. That's what we gonna do." As she's doing that, here comes the guy with the delivery guy. Talk about some, "How y'all ladies doing? What you know about the juke? Me and my buddies gonna be out there. Why don't you come down there and I'll buy y'all a drink?" "We'll be there." I said, "Come on, Aunt Vi. You gonna sit here and take advice from a hoe that tried to was flirting with your man blatantly in your face." Okay? So at this time, Boogie comes over to the house talking to Ralph in Hollywood while Hollywood was just going off in his feelings about, his situation with Aunt Vi. Boogie come over and both of them convinced Hollywood to come to the Jew. Come out. Okay? And they just so happened to go to the same place where Aunt Vi was at. I knew that shit was coming. I said, "This is a small ass motherfucking town that is only one club out there that everybody come to." All right? And she was out there, the delivery guy, what his name was? Daryl? Was it Daryl or Carl or some shit? What the fuck ever. He looked like a creeper, okay? He looked like he the type of person that'll play around with folks. He looked pedophilic, okay? I'm just being honest, okay? He don't look trustworthy. But he got us some water. She was like, "I mean, I guess we can go out there on the floor and dance," and she did all this shit for me. And That was out there getting down, tooting and booting and backing it up. I said, bitch, age ain't nothing but a number. If the music is good, come on, nigga, let's go. I said, come on, bitch. Child, soon as she getting it in, Hollywood Spots Time was about to go over there and fuck shit up, okay? Fuck that nigga up. But, you know, Ralph pulled him back and said, no, don't do that, bruh. Hollywood was like, fuck this shit, I'm finna just leave. And I was like, damn, that's kinda fucked up. So what wound up happening with Hollywood, I'm gonna just continue on his little shit. He goes back to the house, he's in his feelings, and he's like, you know what, I'm about to leave. Um, go back to the rig because he goes to the rig. That's what he do for work, whatever. And he was only coming back to St. Joe's Parish because of Unvi and them. And he's like, I might as well just give me an apartment out there, whatever, because ain't nothing for me to come back to right now. Because obviously the person that I want don't want me no more. She done moved on. I felt so bad for him for a second. And then I have to think, you know, it's kind of like your karma because we felt bad for Unvi when, you know, Luann popped the fuck up. But they need to stop their bullshit and just go ahead and get back together, okay? It's really irritating because they're a good match. They're a good match. And at this moment in time, Ralph Angel told Darla at the end of the episode, like, girl, let me tell you this. He gone and all this stuff, so we got the house to ourselves and all this, and you know, you want to do what we want to do. They start kissing. I said, oh my God, here y'all go. We already know y'all fucking, so move on. Nova, she's actually doing her interview with Melissa Harris Perry. Finally, you know, that we talked about, I think, 2 episodes ago. And as she doing the interview, I noticed immediately who was in the audience, even when they had first panned up because they were showing the back of the heads of the audience members. And we see this white boy in the audience, and I saw the way his hair was, and I said, that's Calvin right there. That's Calvin. So, you know, Nova's, they praising Nova, talking about, you know, her work, doing the articles on corruption and, you know, the pay for inmates at the penitentiary. And, you know, she had this scene where she went to the defense lawyer that Too Sweet had, and she was like, what is taking so long? I put the bail money out, so now his life is in limbo because we don't know what's going on. And he was like, I haven't even got to his case yet. I don't even know who he is yet because I won't be able to get to his file until I get through all these other files, plus this file over here and this one. It's fucked up. It's a fucked up situation. It's not that we don't care. It's the fact that we don't have the manpower, we don't have the resources, we don't have the money, and it's a messed up system. So she understood what that was. She wasn't really pissed off at first. She was about to get in her feelings, but after he explained it, because at first it did seem like he didn't care, but then he explained it and said what he said, and she got it. And so she put that out there because they did ask her about the article about Too Sweet and all that stuff, and she explained that. And she was in the midst of talking, and then she looked in the audience, and then Calvin was sitting there like, he just looked so creepy, so fucking creepy. I was just like, he gave me serial killer tease, okay? So chop you up in little pieces type of tease while you sleep, okay? He looked like he cut off pieces of her dress and sniffed them while she gone and all that stuff. Anyway, so Melissa Harris Perry started asking her questions about, you know, you never really put out there that you are associated with the Black Lives Matter movement, but can you tell us some things about it and your interpretation of it. And she started going in about how the Black Lives Matter movement first started after the killing of Trayvon Martin and, you know, his killer getting off, and, you know, the corruption in the police departments and brutality against African Americans and things of that such. And, you know, how all of a sudden people want to twist it and make it seem as if to be a part of Black Lives Matter, you have to be black and you have to be anti-white, when that is not right. Anybody can be a part of it or whatever if you're fighting for the equity of all people. I said, come on, Nova, come on. Calvin was sitting there looking like, at first he was sitting there looking, I said, oh, he looked like he ready to snap because she was talking about police brutality and all this stuff. But then his smile and his gaze kind of changed when she was like, you know, we fight in a corrupt system, but I do know that there are some police officers within this system that are not corrupt. They are good ones. And he was like, okay. So she redeemed herself and all that shit. So after that, you know, they meet up outside or whatever. So look, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. Yeah, it's been far too long and all this stuff. I miss you. I mean, I miss you too a little bit, you know. how's your wife, bitch? That's what I wanted to say. Girl, say how your wife is. I was like, you did a good job. You did a good job. Look, I just want you to come back. I want to come back home with you. Okay? I love you. And let me tell you something. I love you so much. And I was here for everything that you said. I went down and I asked a favor to get Too Sweet out of jail. Like his whole case, the charges been dropped. I said, oh, it took all of this. You know, the fact that you had to lose her to do some shit about it. Okay, so now you want to step up? Pussy make you do some shit. I said, black of the berry, sweet of the juice, bitch. Okay? Kiki told Micah that too. Like, girl, that's what she was giving out. You gotta taste this first, nigga. But, anyway, after that, she was like, no, I can't go backwards. We got to go forward. I don't want to do all this no more. We can't go there no more. He was like, I left my wife. I said, what that's supposed to mean? Too little, too late, bitch. I said, no, but don't fall for it. Please don't fall for it. So, after that, the last thing, Micah and Kiki got some friends over at Micah's house or whatever. They going over, calculus and all this stuff. And next thing you know, here comes Charlie. And they was like, oh my God, Mrs. West, I am such a bit. I follow you on Instagram. Like, you are everything. I want to be you when I grow up and all this stuff. And they was being real nice and cute with it. And then, she goes into her room and she was looking at them. And then she closed the door and she goes on the phone because Davis was sending her text messages saying, what's up with Micah? I haven't heard from him. I'm in New York. Please have him call me. He won't talk to me and all this stuff. So she was just sitting there thinking like, damn, how can I use this to my advantage? She calls him and was like, so Davis, yeah, no, everything's cool. Really, it's about Micah. Yeah, I mean, he's just going off the wrong path, and he's hanging around with the wrong crowd, and he's just being out of control, and I just don't know what to do. Maybe you really need to come down here. And you need to talk to him. Yeah, yeah, okay. So what that scene was, she was not talking about the kids in the room that they were the bad influence or the wrong crowd. That she just made a complete lie as an excuse to get Davis to come down there because she knew if she said anything about Micah, whether it was true or not, he was gonna get his ass down there. So that is her way to get him down there so she could set up this goddamn meeting under false pretense, bitch. I said, Charlie, you gotta go somewhere. Anyway, that was Queen Sugar, y'all. Y'all tell me how y'all felt about it, and I will see you guys later. Please enjoy your holiday. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and be safe. Don't be nobody ass over the dinner table, okay? Please don't. I'll see y'all later.